Okay, my dear students. Okay, today, so I would like to explain CSS. Okay, this is Ramakrishnabi, Assistant Professor, CSC. Okay, in the previous classes, we have completed the concepts regarding to the HTML. So now today's class, we will discussing about CSS. Okay, CSS is also one of the parts in HTML. Okay, now so the today's objective of CSS is we have to discuss history of CSS, introduction to CSS, importance of CSS, and then CSS syntax and how to apply CSS. Okay, so CSS history. So CSS was found in the year 1994. So what is CSS? Okay, CSS is nothing but cascading style sheets. Okay, CSS was invented in 1994. So what is the purpose of CSS? CSS is a technology which is used for web page formatting and positioning of elements in a web page. That means by using CSS, you can build our web pages in one systematical formatting and efficiency of web pages. So CSS is works in conjunction with HTML to greatly increase appearances of web pages. So that means, so whenever we have to use CSS, with the help of CSS, you can build our HTML pages with more effectively and more appearance. So with the help of CSS, you can build our web pages in very good style formatted. So that is nothing but CSS. CSS is cascading style sheets. With the help of CSS, you can build our web pages, that means our HTML pages, in efficient graphical manner. For that purpose, we have to use CSS. Okay. Then next, introduction of CSS. So in the CSS, a style sheet is a set of stylistic rules that express the web page presentation and layouts of structured document. That means the style sheet, that means whatever the web page or whatever the HTML page, that can be structured with the stylish format. Okay, using CSS we can determine the style and layout the web pages. Okay, by using CSS you can create or determine our web page how to be displayed. So you can easily design and you can easily build the images and graphical oriented pages built with the help of CSS. They allow us to specify rules for how the content of elements within your document appear. With the help of CSS, you can easily determine what type of data to be appeared and the data how to be appeared. So that can be built with the help of CSS. So advantages of CSS. It is improving the capability of HTML. That means formatting capability of HTML. So that means you have to improve. That means appearances of HTML page can be improved and reduce the document size. You can easily reduce it. That means with the help of CSS, you can easily build the more effectiveness. So reduce the complexity and repetition and to use the same style sheet with many different HTML documents. With the help of CSS, once you created the CSS sheet, that can be reused on more than one HTML document. This automatically you have to save the time, and a style sheet can import and use styles from other style sheets also. So with the help of these CSS style sheets, you can also build the style sheets from other style sheets also. Okay, CSS rules. CSS consists of set of rules. That means that determines how content of elements within your document should be formatted. That means with CSS consists of some set of rules. With that rules, you have to arrange our documents in proper manner. For that purpose, you have to follow some set of rules. That means, so we have mainly two rules are there. So that is selector and declaration. The selector is nothing but an element, a set of elements to which declaration must be applied to. So the selector, that means it is an element, a set of elements that which declaration must be applied to. So whatever the declarations you have to define that are all to be applied on our sheets, that is in the defined in the selector declaration. So declaration is nothing but whatever the properties that is to be applied, that the property and then value. You have in the declaration you have two properties, one property and the second one is value. Is the property is nothing but CSS property that is to be applied. So what the property is to be applied, that will be defined in our declaration, and the what the value of CSS property, that will be declared in our declaration part of value. Okay, then we have to see, this is a some basic example. Here I defined the example h1 and then font family, Arial, color, blue, text element. Here h1 is in a selector. Okay, here this is in a declaration part. So already I have selected the element, a set of elements to which the declaration must be applied. That means this is in a selector and this is in a declaration that must be applied. So and then declaration. So here declaration property as CSS. So property is nothing but CSS property that is to be applied. That means whatever the declaration. So that can be whenever you have to use the h1, in that you have the properties, the font family, that is the area, this is to be applied. Okay, so same like that in the grouping of selectors. So grouping of selectors, that means separate selector with the comma. So here you have considered three selectors with these properties. So that means h1, h2, h3, these three selectors can be used, these all properties. Each and every selector can append these properties. h1 also access these properties and h2 access these properties, h3 whatever the selectors is defined, that all selectors can be follow these declaration, that means these property values. Okay, this is the introduction regarding to the CSS. Okay, so thank you so much.